the hell is going on, and why are some people dressed like Harry Potter? You're looking at footage of one of the coolest cultural phenomenons that I have encountered since living in Braga. It's called Praxe. Praxe is Portugal's answer to the United States fraternities and sororities. And it all starts in your freshman year of university, where you're hazed all year long from September until May. And then as you move up in years, you start to become higher up and higher up in the hierarchy. And they all have different names, most of which I cannot pronounce, but I know that the third years are called doctors. And they're the ones that get to wear the really cool outfits with the long cape and the hats. And they are basically the advisors or the biggest brothers of the group. And all of the Praxe is separated by the school. Whenever one of the doctors walks near one of the freshman Praxe members, they have to do some sort of salute or shouting or something. But I'll let Francisco tell it better.
Now she's making salvation to a doctor. It's like us, the 3-year students. When we come by, they have to do this, and we go out, they have to do this as well.
By the time the school year is almost over and the freshmen are almost reaching the end of their hazing, they're starting to become a little more integrated into the whole Praxe crew, whereas prior to that they were considered the lowest of the low.
In the bottom we have the freshmen, which are those guys in the orange. Yeah. They are worth shit. They literally, they're worthless.
The whole year is working up towards the end of the school year, this one last final week, which I got the most video footage of, called The Funeral of the Cat, Enterro de Gata. And why it's called The Funeral of the Cat? Depending on who you ask, you're gonna get a different answer. And every major city in Portugal has their own Praxe, and not every school calls it Enterro de Gata. And the different cities will not make their final week of Praxe the same week. Now, Enterro de Gata is the biggest party of the year for the university. They even cancel classes. And if you ask the students what's this all about, they couldn't really articulate what it is much more beyond just partying and drinking for an entire week. So school closes down so you all can drink. Yeah, that's basically it. And this tradition, some people will tell you that it's a very old tradition. Some people will tell you that the tradition's only 40 years long. The beginning of Enterro de Gata starts with a procession. And it started on a Friday night, but it all starts in the train station in Braga. Everyone was standing around. It looked like a gigantic Harry Potter convention. Why do these people look like Harry Potter? That is the right question. J.K. Rowling was living in Porto at the time that she wrote the first Harry Potter book, and they say that since she was living in Porto at the time, that she saw these university students and was inspired for the types of uniforms that they wear at Hogwarts. Is that the name of it? I'm so sorry, I have not read Harry Potter. Everyone in their long capes and their hats and their Baroque-looking clothes. There was a live band that was playing, and apparently we were all waiting for this one train to come in from Porto, where the drunkest people I have ever seen in my life get off the train. They're dressed differently. They're dressed like different religious figures. Some like Pope, some like bishops, some like monks, some like the Undertaker, the Gravedigger, and they all come off on their shoulders. They're carrying a small little casket because it's the funeral of the cat. So now the cat has died, right? And they're carrying staves with the crucifix on it, and one person's carrying a toilet. And someone said that there is something symbolic about that. One guy's got a bullhorn, and he gets everybody down on their knees, and they start saying like, oh, you know, today the cat has died, and we mourn for the cat, and we cry for the cat. And then they march with them at the front with the casket of the cat. They lead the procession from the train station to one of the oldest fountains in Braga.
Yeah. Where the padrinhos, the godfathers,
yes,
take their capa,
cape,
and move them. So it's like a ritual,
right?
Where because they don't know how to do it, and they do it for the first time. So next year they can do it themselves.
That Friday was the beginning of the Intejo de Gata celebration, where next to the big new soccer stadium that Braga just built not too long ago, right outside, and there's a field, and this whole field is covered with tents, and every school within the university has their own booth where they sell beer, they sell shots, they have a shot wheel, and there's a main stage. And there's also a tent with 90s and early 2000s music. That's where I stayed because I'm old and I like that music. And that happens for 7 straight nights. This whole thing is leading up to the very last day of Intejo de Gata, when freshmen are finally ritualistically baptized in the disgusting fountain in the center of town. All of the schools rent some big truck or semi-truck. Some of the semis have DJs, some of them have just piles, like disgusting amounts of cans of Superbock. This is like the last chance that these guys have to beat the piss out of the freshmen. The last chance they have to completely humiliate these freshmen. The whole city stops, by the way. The whole city comes to a standstill so this procession can happen. The freshmen, the entire year, have been preparing for what's called the cortégio.
Now they are in mini groups to prepare the presentation, to present to the highest level of the hierarchy. It's the Pope here.
They all get up to the end of this procession. They have to perform, and then if the highest of the hierarchy say, like, okay, that was good, like, you can pass. Now they've passed. The freshmen are ritualistically baptized in the disgusting fountain in the center of town, and they say a few more things, but inevitably they all get into this fountain, which by this point in the afternoon when I got there, the water is black because everyone's soaked in beer and mud, and they're all getting in this water. There's beer cans floating in it, just disgusting, and they just all sink under and have to go under. But anyway, there's a lot of controversy around Praxe. So why do people do Praxe? People do Praxe for one of the same reasons that people join fraternities in the United States. It creates a sense of community, and often a lot of students told me that they felt like if they didn't join Praxe when they started university, that they weren't sure how they were gonna make friends. Because really, if you join Praxe, those are your friends. You get to know them very early on. You get to know them very, very well. And then if you don't join Praxe, everyone's already got their big group of friends that they already know very well, very, very quickly. And so it's hard for other students to find ways of belonging and to feel like they're actually part of the university, which is a problem. That's actually part of the research that I do for my PhD, is looking at that element and how important it is for students in their freshman year to feel like they have a sense of community. This is all stuff I could tell you in another video. But there's some dark sides to Praxe. From some of the hazing activities that they had to do, there have been deaths. Some in Porto, some in Braga. Just a couple of years ago, 3 Praxe members, 3 freshmen, lost their lives trying to climb that wall. So it's a point of a lot of controversy now in Portugal. But I have to say, even though it seemed like degrading and disgusting, it was very, very emotional. People's families were showing up for this whole cortégio. Freshmen and the upperclassmen hug at some points, and they'll do this thing. They like get knighted with the staff and then tapped on the head 3 times. It's like a well-wishing for your future. And like a lot of times when an upperclassman did it to a freshman, the freshman would get up and freshmen's got tears in their eyes and they would embrace with the upperclassmen, and then inevitably kicked back to the ground and told to do more push-ups while I'm drowning you in alcohol. Not so bad of a day.